2018 Missouri Poetry Out Loud State Contest. I'm Laura Brewer Ackerman, and I will be your MC for our event. It's great to see everybody here to support this endeavor. And I thought about what brings us here today as I was preparing my remarks. And really, we're here because of words, something really simple. We're here because of words, something really complex. Maya Angelou is quoted as saying, "You must be careful. Someday we'll be able to measure the power of words." I think they are things. They get on the walls, they get in your wallpaper, they get in your rugs, in your upholstery, in your clothes, and finally, into you. Angelou spoke of this as a warning against the harmful and irresponsible use of words. And I think the converse is true as well, that words can get in us to heal, to foster responsibility, to unify. The last weeks have been complicated ones, not for the first time, but complicated, extra complicated, to be a teenager, to be a high school student, a parent, a teacher. And certainly we have to look at policy and legislature and policy and protocol, but I think it's also time to look to language and the arts as well. For it is in them that I think we find some healing and some power, and that unity and that sense of commonality that maybe we all search for. And that's why we're here, where we can find beauty and understanding and proof that there is wonder and good and promise in the capacity of the human condition. And we're here today for those reasons and for those things, and because these words got inside these young people and took up residency and changed them. And now we're lucky that we get to be a part of that experience as well. We teachers like nothing better than to be able to celebrate the writer or the poet or the playwright at times like this, and to celebrate the achievements of students like this. When words have taken up residency on days like today, we are reminded about what's good about young people and good about learning and why learning matters. And that should be celebrated. This is the 12th Missouri Poetry Out Loud Recitation Contest. I was lucky enough to bring a student to this contest 10 years ago, and I still feel very fortunate to be connected to this work. The National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation have partnered with state arts agencies of the United States to support the expansion of this project, encouraging nation's youth to experience great poetry through memorization and performance. The Missouri Arts Council sponsors this project in Missouri. I hope you'll find this day as an example about what's good about the arts and literature and arts education in Missouri. Our school communities and the young people we serve grew to love poetry a little bit more this year because of Poetry Out Loud. And I thank all of you, because you wouldn't be here today if you weren't somehow a part of that experience as well, either as a student or a parent, a teacher, a supporter, a listener, a prompter during the memorization process, or maybe all of the above. We may not be able to measure what kind of learning took place to get these students here today on some sort of standardized test, and I'm convinced we shouldn't have to, but I know that it makes us all better thinkers, and I would argue better people. Please take a moment right now to make sure that your phones or any electronic device you might have has been silenced so as not to distract from the performances. We are fortunate that we have a photographer here as well as a videographer, And those photographs will be available to students electronically, so you don't even have to worry about taking out your phone to video your child's performance. There will be a professional version of that available on YouTube after the contest. We have some quick acknowledgments that we want to offer before we get rolling in the contest today, and we also have a few remarks from some key people who support this program. As introductions go, we have a number of people we would like to introduce. From the National Endowment for the Arts, we welcome Lauren Miller, Program Manager for Poetry Out Loud. From the Missouri Arts Council, I have a list of names of people to introduce. Former Missouri Arts Council Chair Nola Ruth, current Council Member Tracy Downing, Sharon Bayshore, Chair, and Alumni Council members Natasha Sexton and Marie Hunter, Michael Donovan, Executive Director of Missouri Arts Council, Virginia Sanders, Poetry Out Loud Coordinator, John Vassar, Program Specialist. We're also happy to have Lisa Higgins here from the Missouri Folk Arts Program and Lisa Scroggs from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. We also welcome any of the Missouri Poetry Out Loud regional coordinators that are here today. These are the people at the regional level who helped coordinate the contests that these young women won and got them here today. Their names are printed in your program, and we thank them for their work to make this project happen. Two others worked hard to get you here today from the Missouri Association of Community Arts Agencies. Michael Gaines, Executive Director, and Office Assistant Carrie Otten Green. They are people who made this project happen in the nuts and bolts variety on the regional level, and now we'll see to it that our state champion gets herself to Washington, D.C. for the next level of competition. I encourage you to take a look at the names of all of the individuals at the back of your program who deserve to be thanked for their work. We appreciate their efforts to support the arts in our state, and we also appreciate their work to make Missouri a better place to live, work, and learn. Many arts advocates rally for countless projects in our state, and even in uncertain times, we're fortunate that they are continually up to the task. Most particularly and personally, I want to thank Virginia Sanders, Program Specialist with the Missouri Arts Council and the Poetry Out Loud Coordinator, and Michael Gaines, Executive Director of the Missouri Association of Community Arts Agencies and the Poetry Out Loud Fiscal Agent. We appreciate your work on behalf of these young people and the other young people who aren't here today. Your desire to see this program grow and be one of the most exemplary in the country makes me proud of what happens in Missouri schools, and it is appreciated by students, parents, and teachers in ways that we never say out loud. We also have a few remarks from individuals who are important to the arts in general, and most importantly today, to our purposes and the roles the arts play in education. You'll hear from them briefly before we begin our contest. First, I'd like to welcome the chair of the Missouri Arts Council, the organization in Missouri which sponsors this endeavor, Sharon Bayshore.
On behalf of the Missouri Arts Council Board of Directors and the staff, it's my honor to welcome you today to Poetry Out Loud, the Missouri State Finals. We thank you so much for coming today to share this very special day. I know we're all just so excited to be here and anticipating what's going to transpire. It's a great day that students, teachers, and coordinators have been preparing for and anticipating. It's a great day for supporters who can show appreciation and recognition. It's a great day for each of us to celebrate the 9 champions who have reached this level of accomplishment and to let them share and shine. Since 2006, the Missouri Arts Council has been committed to Poetry Out Loud and thereby furthering the resurgence of poetry as an oral art form. It is a very dynamic way to discover poetry. This competition satisfies two of the Missouri Arts Council goals. One is to engage people in meaningful arts experiences, and the other is to strengthen Missouri education through the arts. Today we celebrate the accomplishments of these students as we celebrate the importance of poetry as art. Because of careful planning and commitment to its purpose, this Poetry Out Loud competition is impacting schools and students across the state of Missouri. During the last 12 years, and Missouri has been involved from the beginning, the Poetry Out Loud competition has grown tremendously. It has developed from 8 participating Missouri schools in 2006 when it was launched to 52 participating schools and 4,000 participating students in 2018. So just think about this. These champions have persevered and emerged from 4,000 students, and that is such an accomplishment. I think they deserve an applause. Now, there is great purpose, structure, and organization, as you can see, to assure that Poetry Out Loud meets its mission and runs so smoothly in its state competitions. And so I also want to especially thank Virginia Sanders, the Poetry Out Loud coordinator for Missouri, for her coordination for this program. Mrs. Sanders, the Poetry Out Loud coordinator, is truly committed to the success of this. And since 2006, when it all began, her goal has been to, across the state, bring in more schools and increase the level of the competition so that it is an outstanding experience for everyone involved, and that it is comparable in many ways to the national finals, and that's important. Thank you, Virginia. And I think Virginia deserves our applause. I also want to recognize the efforts of committed teachers across the state that provided their students with this opportunity to participate at the local, regional, and now state levels. And thank the 9 regional competition coordinators also who operated through throughout the state. And again, you know, committed teachers are what we need to make this program grow, and we need more of them. I want to recognize the students who have taken the opportunity to participate in Poetry Out Loud and have persevered in this competition. With each opportunity they have had to present their poems that they have chosen, they have elevated their performance and are ready to share poetry as an oral art form with us today. Today, we look forward to witnessing the finals and the emergence of Missouri's 13th state champion, who will represent Missouri and compete in the finals on April 23rd through 25th. Students, teachers, and coordinators, and parents, we applaud you all, and through your participation in the Poetry Out Loud competition, you are helping Missouri to become truly the state of the arts. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, English Language Arts Assistant Director, Lisa Scroggs.
Good morning. I'm getting used to trifocals, so if you see a little confusion going on, I've reached the age. Good morning, students, parents and guardians, and guests. On behalf of the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, I want to welcome you to Jefferson City. It is a privilege to have each of you in the capital city for this prestigious event that recognizes some of Missouri's most talented and dedicated students. As part of my work with the Department of Education, I travel the state visiting with teachers, administrators, and other Missouri educators, all with the goal of meeting the needs of the most important people in our schools, the students. Having been in the classroom for 31 years as an English and journalism teacher and library media specialist, it is always exciting for me to have an opportunity to spend time with students. I want to thank the Poetry Out Loud organizers for inviting me to share this special day with all of you. Unfortunately, a schedule conflict on my calendar requires me to be elsewhere today, and I am sorry that I have to miss out on this year's event with you. Please know that my thoughts will be with all of you today. Before I leave, I want to congratulate the Poetry Out Loud state finalists on your achievement. Officials from the Missouri Department of Education are pleased to have such fine representatives for our state, and we wish each of you the very best. Furthermore, we appreciate the hard work and dedication of your teachers, parents, and guardians who have helped guide you to this level. Thank you to everyone here today for your part in making this event a highlight for Missouri education. Best wishes.
The good news is Lisa, like the rest of us, can consult the YouTube video in the near future and watch all of these recitations again as many times as she wants to. Thanks for being with us. It's a special treat to present a representative from the National Endowment for the Arts, the federal agency that funds, promotes, and strengthens the creative capacity of our communities on a national level. It's a treat to have her here because of her professional role, but it's even more of a treat because she is a product of a Missouri public school and, if I might brag, one of my very own former students, and I didn't even have anything to do with getting her here, so it's a big deal. So it's not every year somebody from the National Endowment shows up to the state finals, so we really appreciate you being here. This is Lauren Miller, National Endowment for the Arts Program Manager for Poetry Out Loud.
Hi everyone, it's so nice to be with you all today. On behalf of the National Endowment for the Arts and our partners at the Poetry Foundation, I'd like to thank the Missouri Arts Council for your continued success in bringing poetry out loud to the state of Missouri, and to thank you all for coming out here to support poetry recitation today. The NEA and the Poetry Foundation created Poetry Out Loud to encourage the nation's youth to learn about classic and contemporary poetry. We believe by performing great works of literature, students can master public speaking skills, build self-confidence, and learn more about their cultural heritage. Since the program began in 2005, more than 3.6 million students and 55,000 teachers from more than 14,000 schools across the country have participated in Poetry Out Loud. All of you are part of this nationwide movement. We thank the Missouri Arts Council, and in particular Virginia Sanders, for administering Poetry Out Loud, and to local partners implementing the program. We're so grateful for their hard work and commitment in bringing Poetry Out Loud to the state of Missouri. I'd also like to acknowledge the teachers who have motivated their students to discover poetry. Poetry Out Loud succeeds because of your time, talent, and dedication. Finally, to the state finalists, be proud of how far you've come and enjoy your time on stage. These poems you recite today, you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. While at the NEA, we believe all art forms have important intrinsic value. I think this quote by poet Jamal May really captures the unique power of poetry. He once said, "You don't walk around with a paintbrush so that when people ask you a question, you can just create a mural real quick. You walk around with language." Poetry is an art form that takes the making materials we all carry with us to shape a pattern that is outside of us while still being deeply internal. Thanks again to the Missouri Arts Council, teachers, friends, family, and audience members for bringing poetry into your lives today. And to the state competitors, good luck.
And now we'll hear from the Missouri Arts Council Executive Director, Michael Donovan. He will greet us and introduce us to some other guests.
Thank you, and welcome to another year of poetry, Poets Out Loud. And we're very glad to have you here. This is probably one of the most important things we do every year. It's something where we have a chance to work with thousands of students in many schools and school teachers and support the literary arts, and that's something that's very important to all of us. Laura set the theme perfectly. This is about words today and ideas, and we've been fortunate for the last year and a half to have somebody on our staff whose tool and trade is those very same things. He's a poet. His name is Jason Vassar. And on April 1st, he's going to publish his first full book of his collection of his works entitled Shrimp by Two Leaf Press in New York City. Please welcome Jason Vassar.
Good morning. So, the Missouri Arts Council has a Creative Community Award every year that we give to communities throughout Missouri. And this year, the award was given to the U-City Loop. And as a young writer, I can remember going to Meshuggah Cafe and just writing for hours on end and just kind of taking in the culture there. And it's where I sort of sunk my teeth into poetry. I was doing spoken word poetry at Legacy Books and Cafe, which is right on Union and Delmar. And so I wrote a poem that will be in my forthcoming collection of poems entitled Delmar Loop Pantoum. So this is for the Delmar Loop. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say Happy International Women's Day. And if you notice, all of our poets are women. Delmar Loop Pantoum. Never a good sign. Folks pointing, looking around. A mob forms. Cars slow. They stop. Folks pointing, looking around. I leave the cafe to watch. They stop, looking at them like the others. I leave the cafe to watch, among the rest of us, and look at them like the others, other poets, artists, the avant-garde. Among the rest of us, in tune, inspired, other poets, artists, the avant-garde. All of us are aware. Inspired by all the colors, other poets, artists, the avant-garde. We all desire. In tune, we are inspired. Admiring the likeness of Chuck Berry, desiring, man on the corner of panhandles. We admire the likeness of Chuck Berry. A mob forms, cars slow. Man on the corner of panhandles. Never a good sign. Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Vassar. Let's talk quickly about what will happen at today's competition. Each competitor will recite 3 poems. The poems are from the official Poetry Out Loud anthology, which contains over 600 pieces of literature. Students will introduce each poem with the title and the poet before beginning the recitation. The competition is in 3 rounds. All students will perform their first poem, then all will perform their second. Then we will have a short break so that we can all breathe and decompress for a minute, and then all students will perform their third poem in round 3. You will hear more from me in between each recitation. In some cases, I'll be telling you a little bit more about this project and its impact on educators. And then in other times, I might be sharing something that students gave me as I surveyed them before the competition. These little filler spots in between each recitation give our judges time to finish their ballots and score each performance. We really are about to begin, I promise, but there are some key people who are important to this endeavor. Their opinions and insights matter, and we appreciate their depth of expertise, and we want you to know about them, our judges. Our first judge I will mention is Tom Tobias. He is the Arts Education Director for the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. He's judged for us before and is experienced as a Poetry Out Loud judge. He intended to be an audience member today, but one of our judges was unable to come due to a car accident, so he's offered to step in and offer his expertise again. I asked him if he had any remarks for a bio, and he said, after 3 years of research and watching TED Talks, I've determined the arts are the only solution. And that's all you need to know about me. Lois Brace is here as a judge as well. She has her MFA from Texas State University in theater directing and a Bachelor of Arts in Speech Communication and English from Southwest Baptist University. She's been involved with the Presser Performing Arts Center since 1992 as production director and now executive artistic director. She has also served on the board of directors for the Missouri Association of Community Theaters. Thanks for judging. Dr. Jane Reed is the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program Coordinator for the North Kansas City High School and is a teacher of literature. Dr. Reed serves as a consultant and workshop leader for the IB and is past president of Midwest IB Schools. She's an arts advocate and has served as an adjudicator for applicants to the Missouri Fine Arts Academy. Jane holds degrees from the University of Central Missouri, the University of Missouri-Kansas City, and St. Louis University. Frank Priest has a Bachelor of Arts in Writing from Missouri State University in Springfield and a Master of Fine Arts in Poetry from Washington University in St. Louis. As professor of English at Missouri State University in West Plains, he has taught composition, creative writing, and literature courses for the past 20 years. In addition to publishing poetry in a number of academic journals, he has also edited a collection of creative writing titled Yonder Mountain, an Ozarks Anthology, published by the University of Arkansas Press in 2013. Every word matters in this contest, and each student must be true to the poet's words. To ensure they get credit for that, we also need to thank our accuracy judge, Teresa Miller. Teresa possesses a great penchant toward detail, from her personal approach to writing and family genealogy to a career background working for Walmart setting up register and computer systems in new stores. She will serve as our accuracy judge. Andrew Kuhlman will serve as our prompter if a student should need a cue to continue her performance. He's the associate producer for Stages St. Louis, overseeing both the development and marketing departments. Andrew is entering his 7th season at Stages and has had the privilege of working with the organization in a variety of areas, including marketing, development, education, and more. He serves as an adjunct professor at St. Charles Community College, where he teaches theater administration courses and also directs. Additionally, Andrew has had the privilege of working as a professional actor and director with a number of theater companies in the St. Louis region. These judges are prepared to score the recitations of each poem by the national guidelines for physical presence, voice and articulation, level of difficulty, evidence of understanding, appropriateness of dramatization, and overall performance. Let's thank them all. And now, we really are ready to begin round one. We will start with Missouri's Central Regional Champion from Hickman High School in Columbia, Missouri, 12th grade student Shakira Cross.
Poem for Haruko by June Jordan. I never thought I'd keep a record of my pain or happiness, like candles lighting the entire soft lace of the air, around the full length of your hair, a shower, organized by God in brown and auburn undulations, luminous like particles of flame. But now I do. Retrieve an afternoon of apricots and water interspersed with cigarettes and sand and rocks we walked across. How easily you held my hand beside the low tide of the world. Now I do. Relive an evening of retreat, a bridge I left behind where all the solid heat of lust and tender trembling lay as cruel and as kind, as passion spins its infinite tergiversations in between the bitter and the sweet. Alone and longing for you, now I do. Thank you.
For the state and national finals, students are required to recite at least one poem that was written before the 20th century and one that is 25 lines or fewer. In some cases, the students may choose one poem to satisfy both of those requirements. Students can choose from any of the poems within the contest anthology, and they determine the order of their selections for recitation. Inevitably, teachers, classmates, friends, and family members gain exposure to familiar as well as brand new poems as a result of this experience. Sometimes, by living in the company of one of these competitors, you may find that you memorize these 3 poems as well. You'll notice as we continue the contest that someone will be picking up ballots in between each of the recitations, and that's so that the tallying can happen as the contest goes along. We're ready for our next regional champion. This is the Kansas City Regional Champion from Notre Dame de Sion High School, 11th grader Tempest Malone.
And Soul by Evan Boland. My mother died one summer, the wettest in the records of the state. Crops rotted in the west. Checked tablecloths dissolved in back gardens. Empty deck chairs collected rain. As I took my way to her through traffic, through lilacs dripping blackly behind houses and on curbsides, to pay her the last tribute of a daughter, I thought of something I remembered I heard once, that the body is, or is said to be, almost all water. And as I turn southward, that ours is a city of it, one in which every single day the elements begin a journey towards each other that will never, given our weather, fail. The ocean, visible in the edges cut by it. Cloud color reaching into air. The Liffey storing one and summoning the other. Salt, greeting the lack of it at the north wall. And as if that wasn't enough, all of it ending up almost every evening inside our speech. Coast, canal, ocean, river, stream, and now mother. And I drove on, and although the mind is unreliable in grief, at the next cloudburst, it almost seemed they could be shades of each other. The way the body is of every one of them, and now they were on the move again. Fog into mist, mist into sea spray, and both into the oily glaze that lay on the railings of the house she was dying in as I went inside.
As you watch today's contest, you'll see lots of benefits that come from this competition. Here are some that I haven't mentioned yet that are tangible in nature. The winner of today's contest will receive a monetary award and an all-expense-paid trip to Washington, D.C. to compete for the national championship in April. Additionally, the Missouri Arts Council presents the state champions family a travel stipend to be used for travel to the national finals. Additionally, the state winner's school will receive a monetary stipend for the purchase of poetry books and also a trophy for the school. The runner-up will receive a monetary award and a stipend for her school's library as well. All of the regional champions will be receiving medals to commemorate their achievements today. We're now ready for the Northeast Missouri Regional Champion, an 11th grader from Troy Buchanan High School, Kaya Thompson.
Dyed Carnations by Robin Schiff. There's blue, and then there's blue. A number, not a hue. This blue is not the undertone of any one, but there it is, primary. I held the bouquet in shock and cut the stem at a deadly angle. I opened the toxic sachet of flower food with my canine and rinsed my mouth. I used to wash my hands and daydream. I dreamed of myself and washed my hands of everything. Easy math. But now I can't get their procedure at the florist off my mind. The white flowers arrived. They've overnighted in a chemical bath, and now they have a fake laugh that catches like a match that starts the kind of kitchen fire that is fanned by water. They won't even look at me. Happy anniversary. Thank you.
Some of the benefits of this contest are less tangible than the money and trips and books I mentioned earlier. Our next presenter stated, the best benefit, personally, of Poetry Out Loud is being able to bring poetry to life and give others the opportunity to feel it too. It's one thing to feel it yourself, but painting the words in such a way that others can as well is super inspiring. This is the Northwest Regional Champion coming from St. Joseph Christian School, 10th grader Aaliyah Smith.
April Love by Ernest Downson. We have walked in love's land a little way. We have learnt his lesson a little while. And so, shall we not part at the end of the day with a sigh, a smile? A little while in the shine of the sun, we were twined together, joined lips, forgot how the shadows fall when the day is done, and when love is not. We've made no vows, there will be none broke. Our love was free as the wind on the hill. There was no word said, we need wish unspoke. We've wrought no ill. So, shall we not part at the end of the day, who have loved and lingered a little while, join lips for the last time, go our way, with a sigh, a smile? Thank you.
Students and teachers always commend this project for helping loosen up the poetry experience in the classroom. I think our next competitor would agree. She stated, "For me, the best benefit of Poetry Out Loud is how it encourages students to step outside their comfort zones and embrace the many nuances of poetry. As a tried and true computer nerd, this is my first poetry competition, and I love it." The Southeast Regional Champion from Leopold High School, 12th grade student, Bryce Jansen.
Analysis of Baseball by Mae Swenson. It's about the ball, the bat, and the mitt. Ball hits bat or it hits mitt. Bat doesn't hit ball, bat meets it. Ball bounces off bat, flies air, or thuds ground, it dud, or it fits mitt. Bat waits for ball to mate, ball hates to take bat's bait, ball flirts bat's late, don't keep the date. Ball goes in, thwack to mitt, and goes out, thwack, back to mitt. Ball fits mitt, but not all the time. Sometimes ball gets hit, pow, when bat meets it. It sails to a place where mitt has to quit in disgrace. That's about the bases loaded. About 40,000 fans exploded. It's about the ball, the bat, the mitt, the bases, and the fans. It's done on a diamond and for fun. It's about home and it's about run.
In education, we talk a lot about how important it is to teach critical reading and close reading, and I believe this is definitely an exercise in that. Our next student stated, "A poem is cathartic in a time of crisis or need," and went on to say, "The poet is a teacher to the people who experience his or her poem." I hope she'll continue to feel this way past high school, as she'll be attending Lindenwood University in the fall to study theater education. The Southwest Regional Champ, a senior from Stockton High School, Marie Ellen Witt.
Virtuosi by Liesl Mueller, in memory of my parents. People whose lives have been shaped by history, and it is always tragic, do not want to talk about it, would rather dance, give parties on thrift shop china. You feel wonderful in their homes. 2 leaky rooms, nests they stowed inside their hearts on the road into exile. They know how to fix potato peelings and apple cores, so you smack your lips. The words, "Start over again," hold no terror for them. Obediently they rise and go, with only a rucksack or tote bag. If they weep, it's when you're not looking. To tame their nightmares, they choose the most dazzling occupations. Swallow the flames in the sunset sky, jump through burning hoops in elegant tiger suits. Cover your eyes. There's one walking on a thread 30 feet above us. Shivering points of light leap across her body, and she works without a net.
Poetry out loud is good for students and teachers alike. A Missouri teacher reflected on the project by saying the following: "This brings poetry off the page in a beautiful way for my students and for me. This activity changes the climate of my classroom for the entire year. I've even memorized and recited a poem for students too, and that, to borrow from a famous poet, has made all the difference." I know that was the experience for me as an educator. When I first discovered poetry out loud and made it a requirement in my classroom, sometimes students were resistant, but the outcome was positive, and I choose to believe those poems reside with those students still. Here's the St. Charles County Regional Champion from Holt Senior High School, grade 12 student, Maggie Peranto.
What Kind of Times Are These by Adrienne Rich. There's a place between 2 stands of trees where the grass grows uphill and the old Revolutionary Road breaks off into shadows, near a meeting house abandoned by the persecuted who disappeared into those shadows. I've walked there, picking mushrooms at the edge of dread, but don't be fooled. This isn't a Russian poem. This is not somewhere else, but here, our country moving closer to its own truth and dread its own ways of making people disappear. I won't tell you where it is. The dark mesh of the woods meeting the unmarked strip of light, ghost-ridden crossroads, leaf mold paradise. I know already who wants to buy it, sell it, make it disappear. And I won't tell you where it is, so why do I tell you anything? Because you still listen. Because in times like these, to have you listen at all, it's necessary to talk about trees.
You may be wondering what it's like to judge a contest like this, and it's not easy. The judges have specific evaluation areas, which I mentioned earlier, and They were given the poems ahead of time so as to familiarize themselves with them. They're not allowed to deliberate during or after the competition. They are required to quantify their impressions with numerical scores, but won't confer with those who tally the scores. As much as they might like to provide oral critiques or gush over performers after the contest, they aren't allowed to do that either. More than 2,300 schools, 300,000 students, and 8,000 teachers participated in this activity nationally this year. And as Sharon said earlier, 4,000 in Missouri alone. It's fair to say the top 9 in this state are good at what they do, and it's exciting to know that one of them will represent us at Nationals next month. Next is the St. Louis City Regional Champion from Crossroads College Preparatory School. This is senior Nyla Long.
Morning poem for the Queen of Sunday by Robert Hayden. Lord's lost him his mockingbird, his fancy warbler. Satan sweet-talked her, 4 bullets hushed her. Who would have thought she'd end that way? 4 bullets hushed her and the world a-clang with evil. Who's gonna make old hardened sinner men tremble now? And the righteous rock, oh who will sing Jesus down to help with struggling and doing without and being colored all through Blue Monday till way next Sunday? All those angels in their Cretan clouds and finery the true believer saw when she reared back her head and sang. All those angels are surely weeping. Who would have thought she'd end that way? 4 holes in her heart. The gold work's wrecked. But she looks so natural in her big bronze coffin among the broken hearts and gates ajar. It's as if any moment she'd lift her head from its pillow of chill gardenias and turn this quiet into shouting Sunday and make folks forget what she did on Monday. Oh, Satan sweet-talked her. And 4 bullets hushed her. Lord's lost him his diva. His fancy warblers gone. Who would have thought she'd end that way?
One of this project's partners, the Poetry Foundation, publishes Poetry Magazine, the oldest monthly publication devoted to verse in the English-speaking world. You can subscribe to the hard copy there or reference back issues dating all the way to 1912 on their website. There's a great link to Poetry Magazine podcasts there, individual poems. You can subscribe to the poem of the day in your email. Great essays on poetry, and more. In honor of Women's History Month and the International Day of the Woman today, there's a fascinating essay on the oral history of poetry and the women's movement that I fell into just yesterday. There's always something to captivate you there. So my thinking was, if you watched too much of The Bachelor accidentally earlier this week, that would be a really good antidote to that, to try to reframe yourself. So it's now time for the St. Louis County Regional Champion from Parkway West High School, grade 12 student, Ann Truca.
April Midnight by Arthur Simmons. Side by side through the streets at midnight, roaming together, through the tumultuous night of London, in the miraculous April weather. Roaming together under the gaslight, day's work over, how the spring calls to us here in the city, calls to the heart from the heart of a lover. Cool to the wind blows fresh in our faces, cleansing, entrancing, after the heat and the fumes and the footlights, where you dance and I watch your dancing. Good it is to be here together, good to be roaming, even in London, even at midnight, lover-like in a lover's gloaming. You the dancer and I the dreamer, children together, wandering, lost in the night of London, in the miraculous April weather.
That's the end of round one, and we will move directly to round two.